The desert night was quiet around the human outpost. The stars were cold above, the wind carried dust across the metal walls, and the man called Ethan sat alone near the dim fire. He was used to silence, used to being the only human on this alien border. But tonight, he heard something different, that it was not the cry of an animal. It was not the sound of machines. It was soft, uneven footsteps like someone was dragging a heavy limb across the ground. Ethan reached for the tool beside him, a steel rod he often used as a weapon when trouble came. He narrowed his eyes and listened. From the shadows, a figure appeared. It was small, wrapped in torn cloth, with glowing eyes that caught the firelight. Her skin was pale silver, her hair tangled like wild vines. She was not human. She was alien, one of the local tribes who rarely came near humans. And she looked desperate. She limped closer, holding her leg as if every step hurt. Ethan rose to his feet, ready to defend himself if she attacked. But instead of anger or threats, her first words were strange, almost unbelievable. "Please, massage my leg." Ethan froze. He thought he had misheard. "What?" he asked. Her voice shook as she repeated, "Please, I beg you, massage my leg." Now Ethan frowned. Of all the things he had expected, begging for food, water, or even shelter, this was the last request he imagined. He kept his distance, his eyes sharp on her. "Why?" he asked slowly. The alien girl staggered and almost fell. Her leg trembled violently, and strange blue sparks flickered under her skin, moving like veins of lightning. "It hurts," she whispered. "If you don't, something worse will happen." Ethan felt a chill. He should have turned her away. This could be a trap, some alien trick to lower his guard. But there was fear in her eyes, not malice. Her body was shaking as if something inside was trying to break free. Against his better judgment, Ethan pointed at the ground near the fire. "Sit," she obeyed quickly, collapsing onto the sand. Her breathing was fast, shallow. She stretched her leg toward him, pulling back the cloth. Ethan expected a wound, maybe a broken bone. Instead, he saw lines glowing faintly beneath her skin, pulsing like they were alive. He touched her ankle carefully. Her skin was too warm, almost burning. She winced but nodded. "Please," she begged again. Ethan pressed his fingers along the muscles of her leg, unsure if this would do anything. As he moved, the trembling lessened, and the glowing lines dimmed slightly. The alien girl let out a shaky breath of relief. But Ethan noticed something disturbing. With every press of his hand, the light under her skin shifted, forming patterned spirals, waves, strange symbols he had never seen before. It was like her body carried hidden writing that only appeared under pressure. He wanted to stop. His instincts screamed danger. Yet the girl grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "Don't stop," she hissed. "If you stop, it will wake." Ethan stared at her. "What will wake?" Her eyes, glowing faintly golden now, locked onto his. She whispered, almost too low to hear, "The thing they put inside me." The fire cracked. The desert wind howled. For a long moment, Ethan did not move. He was massaging the leg of an alien girl who might be carrying something dangerous inside her. Something her own people had done to her. He pressed harder, trying to control the fear rising in his chest. The glowing shapes under her skin twisted like living creatures. She gasped but nodded. "Yes, keep going. Only pressure keeps it asleep. Only human touch works." Ethan froze at those words. Only human touch? That meant she had come here searching for him specifically. She knew what he was. She knew he was the only one who could help her. "Why me?" he asked. "Why not your people?" Her face darkened. Pain and anger flickered across her expression. "They cursed me," she spat softly. "They wanted me to die alone. But I will not. I found you. Because you are human. Because you're kind. Breaks the curse. Ethan swallowed hard. He didn't know what to believe, but he could feel the heat of her skin, see the glow fading slowly under his hands. Maybe she was telling the truth. Then the ground shook. Just once. A heavy vibration, like something massive had stepped nearby. Ethan snapped his head toward the dark horizon. The girl stiffened, her eyes wide with terror. "They found me," she whispered. "My clan, they are coming." Ethan's hands froze on her leg. The desert night was no longer silent. From beyond the dunes, heavy shapes moved closer, shadows shifting under the moonlight. The alien girl grabbed his wrist, her voice urgent and shaking. "Don't stop, human. If you stop now, you will see what lives inside me." Ethan looked into her glowing eyes, then back at the approaching figures in the dark. He realized this night was only the beginning. The fire flickered weakly in the desert night, but Ethan barely noticed it. His hands pressed against the alien girl's trembling leg, and each movement revealed shifting light beneath her skin. Strange symbols coiled like snakes, glowing and fading with every touch. The air itself seemed heavier, as if it was waiting for something to happen. Ethan's mind raced. What exactly had he agreed to? He was massaging the leg of a stranger who wasn't even human, and now shadows moved on the dunes beyond. Whoever or whatever was coming didn't sound friendly. The girl clutched his wrist tightly, her golden eyes full of fear. "Do not stop," she whispered. Her voice was sharp now, filled with urgency. "If you stop, the curse inside me will wake." Ethan swallowed. "Curse? What curse?" Her body shook, and for a moment, Ethan thought she might faint. But she kept her eyes locked on his. "They put a parasite in me," she said in a trembling voice. "It sleeps now, only because of your touch. If it wakes, it will consume me. And you." Ethan froze. His instincts told him to pull away, grab his weapon, and prepare for a fight. But his gut also told him the girl was telling the truth. The heat coming off her skin was unnatural, the glowing marks undeniable. Something alive pulsed under the surface, like a monster waiting to crawl free. "Why me?" Ethan asked. "Why does my touch matter?" The girl's lips trembled. "Because you are human. The curse was designed to resist my kind. But against your kind, it weakens. That is why I sought you out. That is why I begged." The desert wind howled, and the sand shifted with the sound of heavy footsteps. Ethan looked up, and his heart tightened. Shapes moved in the darkness, tall figures with long spears that glowed faint blue. Alien warriors. They were closing in. The girl saw them too. Her body stiffened in terror. "My clan," she whispered. "They have come to finish me. If they kill me, the parasite will burst free. They will make sure it spreads to you." Ethan gritted his teeth. This was no ordinary night. He was caught between an alien girl cursed by her people and a group of warriors marching toward his camp. He had no backup, no allies, only his wits and a steel rod by the fire. "Keep massaging," the girl begged. "Do not let it wake." But Ethan shook his head. "If they attack, I can't fight with both hands busy." Her voice cracked. "If you stop, you won't live long enough to fight." The ground trembled again. The warriors were close now. Ethan could see their glowing eyes, their tall frames moving with deadly grace. He tightened his grip on the girl's leg, pressing firmly into the muscles, trying to buy time. The glowing symbols under her skin twisted into sharp patterns. As though resisting his touch, her breathing steadied slightly, but her voice was weak. "You cannot fight them alone." Ethan's mind spun. "Then tell me how to stop them." She closed her eyes, as if ashamed. "You cannot. They are stronger, faster. But if you trust me, there may be a way." Ethan glanced at the approaching shadows. "Talk fast." The girl opened her eyes again, desperation burning in them. "The curse inside me is alive, but it also hungers for freedom. If you press harder here, along this mark, she guided his hand to a glowing spiral near her thigh. You can force it to show itself. For a moment, it will rise. If you hold it there long enough, it will lash out at them instead of you. Ethan blinked. You're telling me to wake it up? She nodded, trembling. Yes, wake it, but control it. Your touch can guide it, direct its rage. It will fight them. But if you let go too soon, her voice broke. It will turn on us both. Ethan cursed it under his breath. Every instinct screamed this was madness. But the warriors were almost at the fire now. He could see their spears glinting, hear the sand crunch beneath their feet. He looked at the girl. She was shaking, her skin glowing brighter, her eyes begging him to choose. Ethan pressed down hard on the spiral mark. The alien girl screamed, not in pain, but in release. Her leg convulsed, and the symbols under her skin burst with light. Something shifted inside her, a dark shadow that rippled like smoke trapped under glass dot. The nearest warrior stopped, raising his spear. His voice was cold. You should not have touched her, human. But before he could strike, the girl's body arched, and from the glowing spiral, a shape began to emerge. It was not solid, not flesh. It was something between fire and shadow, twisting with hunger. The warriors hesitated. Even they looked afraid. Ethan gritted his teeth, his hands locked on the mark, guiding the creature's rage. The fire crackled, the desert wind roared, and the thing inside the girl slowly lifted its head. The night was no longer silent. Something wild had awakened. The desert night exploded with energy. Ethan's hands pressed firmly on the glowing spiral of the alien girl's leg, and the parasite inside her began to stir like a storm trapped under skin. Her body shook violently, her cries echoing across the dunes. The fire snapped and burned brighter, as if even the flames feared what was awakening. The warriors stopped in their tracks. There were 4 of them tall, silver-skinned, their armor made of bone and metal scraps. Their glowing spears hummed in the night air. The one in front stepped forward, his golden eyes locked on Ethan. You fool, the warrior said coldly. Do you know what you've touched? Ethan ignored him, his focus fixed on the girl. The dark shadow beneath her skin surged toward his hands, clawing against his grip. It wanted to be free. He pressed harder, guiding it as the girl had told him. Her screams turned into a guttural growl. Her eyes glowed brighter, twin flames in the dark. Hold it, she gasped. Control it. The first warrior raised his spear. Step away, human. That creature is ours. But Ethan didn't move. The ground trembled as the parasite rose higher. A head-like shape formed above the girl's leg, made of smoke and fire, with no solid flesh. Its mouth opened without sound, but the pressure in the air grew so heavy Ethan's chest ached. The warriors stepped back uneasily. Their leader's voice faltered. Impossible. It answers to him? The parasite's smoky form turned, sensing the warriors. Its glowing eyes not of flesh but of fire locked onto them. Ethan could feel its hunger, its rage. It wanted to destroy. Now, the girl whispered, her voice weak. Guide it. Point it at them. Ethan didn't know how. He only pressed harder with his hands, pushing the energy forward as if directing a flow of water. To his surprise, the creature responded. It shifted its body, stretching toward the warriors like a living shadow. The first warrior shouted in his alien tongue and threw his spear. The glowing weapon streaked through the air, straight toward Ethan. The parasite moved faster. A tendril of smoke lashed out, striking the spear mid-flight. The weapon disintegrated into glowing dust before it could hit. The warriors froze. For the first time, Ethan saw fear in their glowing eyes. The parasite lunged. Smoke and fire whipped across the sand, striking the nearest warrior. He screamed as the energy wrapped around him, pulling at his armor, pulling at his very skin. His body crumbled into ash in seconds. Ethan's heart pounded. He had never seen such raw, terrifying power. He almost let go, but the girl cried out, "Don't stop. If you release it, it will devour you too." Sweat ran down Ethan's forehead. His arms ached, but he held on. The parasite followed his push, striking again, sweeping across the sand like a storm. Another warrior fell, his body collapsing as if time itself had stolen his strength. The last two warriors hesitated. One turned and fled into the dunes. The other stood firm, eyes blazing with hate. "Human!" The warrior roared. "You think you control it? You are a fool. It will consume you when it is finished." He charged forward, spear raised. The parasite struck again, slamming into him with fiery force. But this time, the warrior resisted. His armor glowed, symbols across his chest burning bright as he fought back. The shadow beast shrieked, recoiling slightly. The girl screamed in pain, clutching Ethan's arm. "He wears a ward. You must press deeper, harder, or it will break free." Ethan clenched his jaw. His muscles burned, but he pushed harder, his fingers digging into the glowing spiral on her leg. The light flared so bright it blinded him for a second. The parasite shrieked louder, its smoky tendrils doubling in size. With a violent lash, it wrapped around the final warrior, shattering his glowing armor like glass. His scream echoed across the dunes before his body vanished into ash-dot silence. Only the crackle of fire and the hiss of desert wind remained. The parasite hovered above the girl. Massive now, its smoky form writhing with hunger. It looked at Ethan next. Its fiery eyes burned with a hunger that made his skin crawl. Ethan's arms shook. He wanted to let go. Every instinct screamed to run. The girl, pale and trembling, grabbed his shirt. "Don't let go yet. Guide it back. Make it sleep again. How?" Ethan demanded. Her voice cracked. "Press. Backward. Slow, gentle. Force it down." Ethan's breath came fast, but he obeyed. Instead of pushing, he eased his hands slowly, pressing in reverse. The glowing spiral dimmed slightly. The parasite hissed, fighting against the retreat. "Come on," Ethan muttered through clenched teeth. "Back where you came from." The creature resisted, its smoky tendrils whipping angrily. But as he pressed with steady, careful force, it began to sink back into the girl's body. Inch by inch, the shadow shrank, pulled back under her skin. The glow faded until only faint blue lines remained. Finally, with one last hiss, the parasite vanished. The girl collapsed against Ethan, unconscious but breathing. Ethan fell to his knees, his arms shaking from the effort. His heart hammered in his chest, and the desert was quiet once again. The warriors were gone, reduced to ash. Only the fire and the stars remained. He looked at the girl, lying weakly beside him. What had he just unleashed? What had he agreed to? The silence of the night gave no answers. But Ethan knew one thing. This was far from over. The desert was quiet again, but Ethan's chest still heaved from the effort. Sweat clung to his skin, his arms trembled, and his heart refused to calm down. He looked at the alien girl lying beside him, her pale silver face glowing faintly in the firelight. She was breathing, but weak, her body drained from the parasite's rage. Ethan sat back, gripping his knees. He had just seen 4 warriors turned to ash by something living inside her. He had controlled it, barely, but the memory of its fiery eyes staring at him still burned in his mind. He muttered under his breath, "What in the world are you?" The girl stirred, her eyelids fluttering. Slowly, she pushed herself up, groaning in pain. Her golden eyes met his, tired but filled with something deeper shame. "You should not have seen that," she whispered. Ethan leaned forward. "I didn't have a choice. They were going to kill us. That thing saved us." Her hands trembled as she wrapped the cloth tighter around her leg. It is not a savior. It is a curse. And now you are tied to it as I am." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" She looked at him, her voice low and heavy. "You guided it. You touched the spiral. It recognized you. That means it knows you now. And it will never forget." A chill ran down Ethan's spine. "So now I'm cursed too." The girl didn't answer right away. She stared at the dunes where the ashes of the warriors blew away in the wind. Finally she said, "Not cursed. Marked. You are human, and that changes everything. You are the only one who can tame it, at least for now." Ethan let out a dry laugh. "Great. Just what I needed, an alien parasite pet." But her face stayed serious. "Do not joke. You don't understand what you hold. That creature was born from pain and rage. My people created it long ago when they sought power beyond flesh. They bred parasites inside their warriors to make them stronger. But they lost control. Entire tribes were destroyed when the parasites turned on them." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Then why do you have one?" She lowered her head. "Because I was chosen as a vessel. Not chosen with honor, chosen as punishment. My clan wanted me gone, so they forced the parasite into me. They thought it would kill me slowly. But it did not. I learned how to survive. Barely. Until tonight." Ethan's jaw tightened. He remembered the warrior's words. You should not have touched her. They hadn't come to rescue her. They had come to erase her existence completely. And only my touch stops it? Ethan asked Dot. She nodded weakly. "Yes, only human touch. Your kind carries something. Strange. Something the parasite cannot consume. Instead, it bends to you. That is why I searched for you. That is why I begged." Ethan leaned back, staring into the fire. This was madness. He had come to the frontier for a quiet life, to escape wars and politics. Instead, he had found an alien girl with a monster inside her that only he could control. The girl's voice shook. "You should leave me. I will only bring you death." Ethan shook his head slowly. "I don't think I have that choice anymore. That thing looked right at me. It knows me now, like you said. If I leave, it might come for me anyway." Her golden eyes softened, as if she hadn't expected him to stay. "Then you are a fool, human, but a brave fool." The fire crackled, and for a brief moment, the desert felt calm again. Ethan allowed himself to breathe. But the peace didn't last. Dot in the distance. More lights flickered on the dunes. Not torches this time, but moving glows machines, drones, perhaps more warriors. The girl noticed them too. Her face paled. "They will not stop," she whispered. "The clan knows the parasite is awake. They will send everything to hunt me. And now they will hunt you too." Ethan cursed under his breath. "Of course they will." He stood, gripping his steel rod. His body ached, but he forced himself to stay ready. "Then we can't stay here. We need to move." The girl struggled to rise, but her leg buckled. Ethan caught her before she fell. For a second, she looked shocked, maybe because no one had held her so gently in years. "You saved me once already," she murmured. "Why save me again?" Ethan looked at her firmly. "Because leaving you here means leaving myself to die too. And I don't plan on dying tonight." She almost smiled, but her face quickly hardened again. "Then listen. There is one place we can go. A cave, hidden in the cliffs to the north. It is old, forgotten by most. But inside lies something. Something that can explain why your touch works. If you want answers, we must reach it." Ethan glanced at the glowing lights moving closer on the horizon. He had no better options. "Then we head north." He helped her up, her weight leaning against his shoulder. Together, they stepped away from the fire, into the cold desert night. But as they walked, Ethan felt something strange. His hand still tingled from where he had pressed her spiral. It was faint, but there was a warmth under his skin, like the parasite had left a piece of itself in him. He didn't tell her. Not yet. The desert stretched before them, endless and dangerous. Ethan had no idea what waited in that hidden cave. But he knew one thing: his life would never be the same again. And behind them, the ashes of the fallen warriors blew into the wind. As more hunters approached, the desert stretched endlessly before Ethan and the alien girl. The stars above burned cold and distant, while behind them the dunes whispered with the sound of pursuit. The glowing lights of hunters still moved on the horizon. They were not safe, not yet. The girl leaned heavily on Ethan as they walked. Her body was weak, trembling from the battle, but her golden eyes burned with stubborn will. She guided him toward the jagged cliffs that rose like dark teeth in the north. Ethan's grip tightened on his steel rod. "This cave of yours, it better be worth it." The girl nodded faintly. "It will be. If the stories are true, then inside lies the truth about the parasite. And about you." Ethan frowned. "About me?" She didn't answer. Her silence unsettled him more than her words. They reached the cliffs just as the moon dipped lower, casting long shadows across the sand. The entrance to the cave was narrow, almost invisible from the desert floor, hidden behind fallen rocks. Ethan helped the girl squeeze through the gap, then followed. Inside, the air was cool and damp, carrying a faint metallic smell. The walls shimmered faintly, covered in mineral veins that glowed pale blue. The deeper they went, the brighter the veins became, as if the cave itself was alive. The girl leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "This place, it is older than my people, older than the clans. Some say it was built by travelers from the stars before even we existed." Ethan ran his hand along the glowing rock. "And what does it have to do with the parasite?" She pointed deeper into the tunnel. "The heart of the cave. That is where we'll find out." They moved slowly, their footsteps echoing. The cave twisted downward, deeper and deeper, until they reached a chamber unlike anything Ethan had seen. The ceiling soared high above, glittering with crystals that pulsed with light. In the center stood a stone altar, cracked and ancient, with strange markings carved across its surface. Ethan approached cautiously. The markings glowed faintly, similar to the symbols he had seen on the girl's skin when the parasite stirred. He reached out, but the girl grabbed his wrist. "Careful," she warned. "This place holds memory. It can show you things, but it can also break you." Ethan studied her face. "You've been here before?" She shook her head. "No, I was forbidden. But I heard whispers. They said this cave holds the origin of the parasite, and the reason only humans can touch it." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Then let's see." He placed his palm on the altar. The chamber flared with light. The walls glowed brighter, the crystals pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Ethan staggered, gasping as images flooded his mind. He saw flashes of another time, another world, a battlefield. Alien warriors screaming as dark parasites erupted from their bodies, devouring friend and foe alike. A council of alien leaders, desperate and afraid, deciding to seal the creatures away. And then something stranger: humans. Not from Earth as Ethan knew it, but from a distant past, long forgotten. They stood side by side with the aliens, helping to trap the parasites. The parasites recoiled from human touch, weakened by it. Humans were the only beings who could resist their hunger. Ethan's breath caught as the vision shifted. A human reached out, pressing his hand against a parasite-infested warrior, just as Ethan had pressed the spiral on the girl's leg. The parasite recoiled, obeying. The memory burned bright, then faded. The chamber grew dark again. Ethan stumbled back, his heart racing. The girl steadied him. "You saw it," she whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "Your people didn't create the parasite. They just tried to use it. But it's older than that. Humans fought it long ago. Her golden eyes widened. So the stories were true. Ethan exhaled, rubbing his temples. That's why my touch matters. That's why it listens. My kind fought it before. The girl lowered her gaze. Then you are not just my savior. You are its master. Ethan shook his head firmly. No, I don't control it. I barely kept it from killing us. That thing isn't mine. But even as he said it, he felt the warmth in his hand again, the same tingling he had felt after the last fight. A connection. A bond. The girl looked at him with a strange expression, half fear, half hope. If the parasite belongs to you now, then you carry both salvation and doom. With your help, I might finally be free. But if you fail... She paused, her voice trembling. It will destroy us both. Before Ethan could reply, a rumble echoed through the cave. The sound of stone cracking, heavy footsteps, and metallic clattering. The hunters had found them. The girl's eyes widened. They followed. They dared to enter the sacred place. Ethan clenched his steel rod. His muscles ached. His body screamed for rest, but he forced himself to stand tall. Then this ends here. The girl shook her head. No, not here. The altar is powerful, but unstable. If the parasite rises again inside this chamber, it could tear the cave apart. We must escape, or we will be buried alive. The rumbling grew louder. Shadows stretched across the chamber walls. The hunters were close. Ethan grabbed her hand. Then we run. Together, they turned from the altar and plunged deeper into the cave, into darkness unknown, and as they moved, Ethan couldn't shake the thought pressing in his mind. The parasite wasn't just her curse anymore. It was his responsibility. Asterisk. The deeper Ethan and the alien girl moved into the cave, the darker it became. The glowing veins of blue minerals thinned, and the air grew heavy, pressing against their lungs. Behind them, the sound of hunters echoed, metal striking stone, boots crushing gravel, voices calling in harsh alien tongues. Ethan gripped his steel rod tighter. Every muscle in his body ached, but he kept moving, guiding the girl forward. Her legs shook with each step, her face pale, yet her golden eyes burned with determination. They will not stop, she whispered, her voice raw. Not until both of us are dead. Or worse. Ethan glanced at her. What's worse than dead? Her gaze flickered. Taken alive. They would tear the parasite from me, force it into another host. Then your kind would no longer matter. It would spread, uncontrolled. The thought made Ethan's stomach twist. He had seen what the parasite could do. If an army carried it, no world would survive. The tunnel twisted sharply, opening into a vast cavern. Ethan froze. The chamber stretched like a cathedral of stone, its ceiling glittering with sharp crystals. Pools of glowing water lay scattered across the floor, casting eerie reflections. The girl's voice trembled. This is the depth. Few have walked here and returned. Ethan scanned the chamber. And what exactly lives here? Before she could answer, a sound rumbled through the cavern. It was not footsteps. It was deeper, older, like the growl of the earth itself. The pools of water rippled as if something stirred beneath them. The girl's hand clutched Ethan's arm. The parasite. It is not alone. This place is where they were first bound. Some say fragments of them still sleep here. Ethan's pulse quickened. Perfect. As if one parasite wasn't enough trouble. The echo of the hunters grew louder, closer. Their spears glowed faint blue, the light bouncing across the walls as they entered the cavern. The leader pointed at Ethan, his voice booming. There, the cursed vessel and her human master. The girl flinched at the word master, but Ethan had no time to argue. The hunters spread out, their spears raised, surrounding them. Stay back, Ethan warned, though he knew the steel rod in his hand looked pitiful against their glowing weapons. The leader sneered. You think you control it? You think you are safe? The parasite uses you, human. When it is finished, you will beg us to kill you." Ethan's grip tightened. The warmth in his hand returned, the bond, the connection to the parasite. It was faint, but it pulsed, alive, waiting. The girl's voice was sharp. "Ethan, the spiral. If you press again, it will rise." He shook his head. "Not here. You said the cave is unstable." Her golden eyes locked onto his. "Then choose. Either fight them now, or let them take us alive. Which fate do you want?" The hunters stepped closer. The crystals above trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. The growl beneath the pools deepened, shaking the ground. Something vast stirred below, answering the parasite's presence. Ethan's heart pounded. He could feel the hunter's eyes on him, feel the girl's weight leaning against his arm, feel the parasite burning faintly under his skin. He made his choice. "Hold still," he muttered. He pressed his hand against the spiral mark on her leg. The girl gasped, her body arching as light exploded across her skin. The parasite surged forward, faster this time, as if eager to be free. The cavern shook violently. Crystals cracked, and the pools boiled with energy. The hunters shouted in alarm, spears raised. The parasite burst out, massive, its smoky form filling the cavern. Its fiery eyes locked onto the warriors. The leader screamed, "Destroy it!" They charged. Spears of glowing light flew through the air. But the parasite moved like a storm. Its tendrils lashed out, shattering weapons, slamming warriors into the walls. Two fell instantly, bodies crumbling to ash. Ethan gritted his teeth, guiding it with both hands pressed hard against the girl's leg. He pushed its fury toward the hunters, forcing it to strike only them. But the ground shook harder. From beneath the pools, something else awakened. Dark shapes rose half-formed parasites, fragments left behind long ago. They hissed, their smoky bodies writhing, drawn by the presence of their kin. The girl screamed, "Ethan, the cave cannot hold them all. If they rise together, the depth will collapse." Ethan's chest tightened. He was holding back one monster, but now there were many. He couldn't guide them all. The parasite he controlled turned its fiery gaze toward the new shadows. For a moment, Ethan thought it might fight them too. But instead, it paused, its smoky tendrils reaching toward the fragments calling to them. The girl's voice broke. "It wants to unite. If it does, it will grow stronger than anything we can control." The cavern shook violently, stones raining from above. The hunters scattered in panic, their spears useless now. Ethan pressed harder, sweat pouring down his face. "No, not this time." He pushed back, forcing the parasite to recoil. But it resisted, fighting him, its hunger too strong. His arms shook, his vision blurred. He felt it inside him too, the warmth spreading through his veins. "Ethan!" The girl cried. "If you cannot force it back, then we must seal it here and now." His breath came in gasps. "Seal it? How?" Her golden eyes shone with desperation. "There is one way. A human sacrifice." Ethan froze. "What?" Her voice cracked. "Your bond with it is strong. If you give yourself fully, you can trap it inside, lock it away forever. But you will never be free again." The parasite roared, tendrils lashing wildly, striking both hunters and stone. The cavern split with thunderous cracks. Ethan's hands shook violently. He stared at the girl, at the parasite, at the collapsing chamber. He had seconds to choose: control it, seal it, or let it devour everything. The cavern shook like the bones of the world were breaking. Crystals rained down, shattering into sparks of light. Pools of glowing water boiled, releasing steam that stung Ethan's skin. The parasite towered above, its smoky body thrashing like a storm, fiery eyes burning holes in the dark. And beneath it, Smaller fragments hissed, crawling from the pools. Eager to unite with their kin, Ethan's arms trembled as he pressed hard on the alien girl's spiral. His whole body burned with the parasite's energy, his veins glowing faintly in the dim light. He could feel it pulling at him, testing him, whispering in his mind, "Let go, human. You cannot resist me. Join me. Together, we are endless." Ethan's jaw clenched. His breath came ragged. He had faced many battles in his life, but never one that wanted to crawl inside his very soul. The girl clutched his sleeve, her golden eyes desperate. "Ethan, the cave is breaking. If you don't decide now, everything will collapse." Sweat poured down his face. "You said I could seal it, but it means I give myself up." She nodded, tears forming. "Yes, if you merge with it, you become the cage. It will never escape, but you will never be free again." The parasite roared, its tendrils whipping around, smashing hunters into ash, cracking stone pillars. The ground split beneath them, glowing with molten light. The fragments slithered closer, drawn to the giant's shadow like moths to flame. Ethan looked at the girl, pale, trembling, yet still alive. Still fighting. She had been cursed by her own people, abandoned to die, and yet she refused to give in. He thought of the visions he saw at the altar humans long ago, standing against this same darkness, pushing it back. They had fought not for themselves, but for something greater. That maybe this was his turn. The parasite's voice thundered in his skull. "You are nothing. One life for eternity? Why fight? Surrender, and I will give you power beyond flesh. You will not die, you will rule." Ethan spat into the dust. "I didn't come here to rule." The girl's grip tightened. "Don't. If you do this, you'll be lost forever." Ethan looked at her one last time. Better me than the whole galaxy. He pressed harder, not to guide the parasite away, but to pull it in. To open himself to it. The parasite shrieked, a sound that split stone. Its smoky tendrils lashed out, wrapping around Ethan's arms, his chest, his throat. Fire and shadow poured into him, burning through his veins. His body arched in pain, but he held firm, refusing to let go. The girl screamed his name, trying to pull him back, but the force knocked her away. She tumbled across the cavern floor, powerless to stop him. Ethan's vision went white. He saw fire, stars collapsing, endless hunger. The parasite clawed at his mind, trying to dominate, but he pushed back with everything he had. He thought of Earth, of quiet nights under the stars, of laughter he once knew, of the girl who begged for his help when no one else would. And slowly, the parasite bent. Its tendrils shrank, pulled into him, forced inside by his will. The fiery eyes flickered, then dimmed. The fragments from the pools hissed and dissolved into ash, their chance at unity lost. The cavern trembled one last time, then stilled. Silence returned, broken only by Ethan's ragged breathing. He fell to his knees, smoke curling from his skin. His veins glowed faint blue before fading. The parasite was gone from the air, from the girl. It lived inside him now. Locked away, the girl crawled to his side, her hands shaking. "Ethan, are you?" He raised a trembling hand, stopping her. His eyes glowed faintly, not golden, not fiery, but a cold silver light. His voice was heavy, distant. "It's inside me now. I can hold it, but I don't know for how long." Tears streamed down her face. "You saved me. You saved us all." Ethan tried to smile, but it came weak. "Then promise me. Don't waste it. Live. Be free. Never let them curse you again." She held his hand tightly, refusing to let go. "I will not leave you." But Ethan shook his head. "You must. If I lose control, I can't be near anyone. Go. Find others who will listen. Tell them what happened here." The cave walls cracked again, stones falling in heavy chunks. The girl cried, but she obeyed. With trembling steps, she ran toward the tunnel, glancing back one last time. Ethan sat alone in the chamber, the glow of crystals fading around him. He closed his eyes, feeling the parasite coil inside. Whispering, waiting. He whispered back, voice steady despite the fire in his veins. You're mine now. You're not breaking free. Not ever. The cave collapsed in a roar of stone and dust, sealing the depth forever. And somewhere above, under the cold desert stars, a girl escaped the cliffs with tears in her eyes and hope in her heart, because one human had chosen to fight a curse meant for her, and in doing so had carried a burden no one else could. The galaxy would never know his name, but the parasite would, and it would never forget the human who caged it.